Community Focus has been brought to you by the Crum Agency, providers of MEMIC Insurance. Their telephone number is 734-254-1976, and they are online at krummagency.com.
You're listening to the station focusing on the Plymouth Canton community. This is Community Focus on 88.1 The Park.
Good evening and welcome to Community Focus, where we talk to people of interest in our community. I'm Anna Brandel, and our guests this week are Jesse Lindlbauer and his parents, Barb and David. Jesse is the namesake for the annual SJ5K. It was started in 2011 to help Jesse's family after he suffered a near-fatal brain injury. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Can you tell me about your personal experience and how it led to the SJ5K?
While we were in the hospital, Tommy felt kind of helpless. He was dating my daughter at the time and wanted to do something because he knew that we were going through a really rough patch. And he came up with the idea of the 5K. You know, no one knew how successful it would be, and I thought it was a nice gesture, but I had no idea it would get this big and end up turning into a yearly event. It turned something kind of tragic into something that our family is very proud of and looks forward to every year.
This turned into a family affair, too. So Tommy Halowitz ended up, obviously, he got married to our daughter, Sarah. So Tommy is kind of the head of the foundation now. So he's really the guy that spearheads, you know, all the activities of the adults and also the students. Sarah's involved with a lot of the marketing of it. Our younger son Noah's involved with helping out with sponsors. Jesse's been very involved with graphics, and Barb and I are just kind of you do some of the financial stuff and help out as well where we can. So everyone's sort of been involved for the last 10 years.
When that first ever SJ5K was created in May of 2011, what was your first reaction when 1,800 people came out to support?
It was overwhelming. I remember the day. It was sort of a gray, and there was some thunder that woke us up even before the race. It looked ominous, like what, you know, oh my gosh, you know, what are we going to do? And thankfully, the weather cleared just in the nick of time. We got over to the school, and they had us, I remember, on a platform and looking out at all the people, and it was amazing. The first race, we weren't very involved at all because Jesse had just basically been home from the hospital, I think, late February. So we were still adjusting to kind of the new normal here at home, and he hadn't been going back to school quite yet. So, yeah, we didn't know what to expect. But obviously the money that was raised that first year went a long ways. We ended up remodeling a first floor bathroom for Jesse because we have a colonial, which doesn't work well if you need to stay on the first floor. So we had to do some major remodeling to our house. It's very comfortable for Jesse to shower and do all the things he needs to do. So it's even today we're benefiting from that very first race.
I was watching the video from 2011, and they had the speakers on the platform of a truck on the back there, and now we've moved to the varsity field. Did you have any idea that this run would become as big as it has?
I never expected that to get this big. It's grown every year, and it just keeps getting bigger, and I think it's a lot of fun to see the community all come together as one for something like this.
We linger so much at the end. We're going to miss that this year. So many people we met through all of this. It's just like one big family reunion. It's always fun to see everybody.
Yeah, and going back too, we certainly thought it was just going to be a 1 year and done. We had no idea that it would continue. I think it just went so well that first year that I think the parties got involved and said, you know, we need to keep this going for other families because there's always families in need. But certainly, I think when Tommy first put it on, it wasn't meant to be anything more than just helping us get through that difficult time in year one.
It's quite amazing to go there on race day and to see everybody in the green shirts. I know I really love the opening ceremony. People are so emotional when they do it, and I just feel like everyone's super connected, and they all come together as one to help everybody in need. What was your most memorable experience with the SJ5K?
Honestly, I have to say the very first one for us. I mean, I can't even describe how overwhelmed we were at the, turnout. I remember it was like chaotic just getting Jesse where he needed to go because there were so many people. And I mean, I really was on the verge of tears going in there because it was just unbelievable that so many people, a lot of people we knew, but so many more that we didn't know came to basically help us out. It was amazing.
So because of COVID-19, this year's race will be held virtually. What was your reaction when you learned of this decision?
Initially, when schools were closed back in March, the race seemed so far off. I initially thought, well, hopefully by May, we could still have the race, but it became clear pretty quickly that wasn't practical. So, initially we threw out some ideas to maybe postpone it to the fall, maybe postpone it to June or July. But it seems like we kind of have a tradition of the first Sunday in May. I can't remember who came up with the idea of a virtual race. And
it did.
Yeah, the kids did. And honestly, I mean, so far the registration numbers are in line with what we've done in past years. It's different, but it's just, fantastic that it looks like, the money raised by this virtual race is going to really, really be more than what we expected that we could pull off.
And then just out of curiosity, do you think in the upcoming years, SJ5K will continue having a virtual option so that people in France and Arizona across the world can participate in the SJ5K?
Yeah, definitely. That has been one thing that we realized that we weren't tapping into, and it's been nice, like even just for our family that's not in Michigan to have that option. They've been able to participate this year for the first time. So we're definitely looking into keeping that aspect.
I'm looking forward to seeing how it all comes together and people posting their pictures on social media. I'm looking forward to Sunday and this upcoming week because you basically have a week time to complete a 5K. So in your point of view, why should people get involved with the SJ5K?
To me, it's all about helping the families. I think this COVID certainly gives everybody a perspective on some struggles that we're all going through this, but seeing these 5 families and what they're going through, I think especially for the young people, it really gives you some perspective. And everyone has always been very respectful of the families at the race, and that's really why we're doing all this. Yeah, it's great to see everybody and come together and have a good time on that day, but we can't forget that the whole reason we're doing that is because 5 families are struggling with whatever issues they have. And there's, unfortunately, recipients that have passed away from prior years. And, when we see those emails, those updates on people passing away, it causes you to pause. But that's the reason we do these things, just to give those families, a day or a month or whatever of feeling like, hey, everyone's in this together and we feel for you. Even if we can't do anything to help that person physically and medically, if it helps just a little bit emotionally, it's all worth it.
Do you have any words of wisdom for this year's families?
I've met the families at the spaghetti dinner, and unfortunately I haven't been able to connect with them as much as normal, but I definitely think that it's overwhelming at first because you're like, oh my gosh, you feel almost kind of proud and like, I don't want to need this help, but the reality is that you do. And I remember sort of an aha moment when I kept thinking, oh, I don't deserve all this help. This is just too much. But then I realized, it's not really for me. It's for Jesse. And I think that's what I'd like to reach out to the families and say, it's for the loved one in your family that's struggling right now. People want to help, and a lot of times they don't know how to help, and this gives them a way to help. I think that's what's the greatest thing about it, because collectively, all of us getting together to do this amounts to a lot of help.
Very well said. I agree. Sometimes you get kind of overwhelmed with everything going on, and it's good to just take a step back and realize, wow, the community is coming together to help me. And And although it seems really crazy right now, it will get better eventually. So those are all the questions that I have for you three. Is there anything else that you would like to add?
We certainly appreciate the promotion and the support of the radio station and the school, because, again, without the students, we couldn't have a successful race every year, and that's not lost on the adults. We continually hear, how great the students are when it comes to stepping up and taking roles and responsibilities, and every year, too. So there's a new group every year. Some stay on for a couple of years and help out, but there's continually new students stepping up, and it's amazing to see.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. You've been listening to Community Focus. I'm Anna Brandel, and our guests this week have been Jesse Lindlbauer and his parents, Barb and David. Jesse is the namesake for the annual SJ5K. You can hear Community Focus every Wednesday following Newsfile at 5:30. You can also listen to past shows on our podcast page at 881thepark.com.
Community Focus has been brought to you by the Crum Agency, providers of MEMIC Insurance. Their telephone number is 734-254-1976, and they are online at krummagency.com.